Everybody. So this is the watch list for the week of October 10. We couldn't go live during our regular sniper scope, so I tried to, have this pre-recorded version to still, give us the levels, go over my market sentiments, what have happened, and potentially where we will be going. So we're gonna start with a quick review of both the SPY and the QQQ. If we take a look right over here, we last month, this is a monthly chart. We have this reversal fulfilled when we broke below 395.04, and we took out a couple of pivots right here, and also, I'm sure if we go to like a much more lower time frame, we came a little bit, but we didn't come to take out this monthly pivot, which is from November of 2020. And the fulfillment so far, or what we're seeing so far this month, is we opened up inside month. Of course, it was grain for a few. If we pull up the weekly, the whole of last week was grain. We saw that, and the reason I think last week was green is a combination of factor. It happens to be us opening a new month. This was Monday, so I'm sure there are some few folks who are covering their short on the SPY, and we rallied up. The markets have digested some of the interest rates by the Feds. However, when the jobs number came out on Friday, it kind of fulfills, or reinforces what is really still going on in the market, which is inflation is high. The Feds are doing everything possible to bring it down. We posted this inside day on Thursday, and for those in our group, they knew the way we play inside days. You take the pivots right over here below 372.68, and then we opened with a gap down, and we have strategies by which we execute things like gap downs and so on and so forth, right? So and the same thing was also a similar move on the Qs, QQQ, which is majorly for tech stocks. We have exactly the same movement, coming from the monthly setup. We're gonna pull up our 5-year monthly chart, exactly the same thing from the month of August, fulfillment, that realization of that reversal into the month of September, and of course, we posted a grain October so far. Well, as you guys know, no one can really tell you where the market is going. However, there are a few factors that we always should consider that is happening. There's still going to be another interest rate coming up. However, earnings season is about to start. Also, election for November is coming close. So we just gotta pay attention, have our plan, and then we are going to execute based on that. So talking of our plan, here are a few stocks that I'm looking at, for this week. Take some of them and pay attention to what the stock is telling you. Pay attention to the tickers. Pay attention, to the price action. There's no guessing. We trade what we see on the screen. Not that we are thinking, oh, this thing is gonna turn around, it's gonna go up, or it's gonna come down. No, we pay attention to the price action, then we act based on that price action. The first one I'm looking at this week is ABBV. AbbVie, it's a pharmaceutical company. So if we come here and take a look at what is going on the month to month, I'm just gonna put up 1 year, 1 month. It is similar to many things that we have in this market right now, where the previous month, what I mean, like the previous month was red, and this kind of held strong. I'm still thinking maybe if we break the low of last month, we might start coming to all these level down here. But when we get there, we get there. What I want us to focus on though is on the weekly chart. We posted an inside week last week, with the high of a 144.47, a low of 135.31, and we're going to see, if we can take those, depending on which side, which of those highs or lows that we are going to take out in this upcoming week. On the daily chart, we kind of posted this interesting doji, right over here. And sorry about that. Let me adjust that we kind of posted this interesting doji. So on Monday, one of the setups I'll be looking is, do we break this to the upside or to the downside? If we break over 140.05, I'm gonna be on the call side with a looking at a target at 142.99. Or if we break below 137.55, I'm gonna be looking at a put side to to 135.31. And if we look at the flow on ABBV, the flow that we're looking right now, these are just weekly expiry. In terms of flows, I'm looking at everything above 1,000 on the ask side, right? So this was the flow from Friday. As you guys can see, it's a bit bearish. With 61.77% on on the put side of things. However, this is not a whole lot. So we can try to look at the previous week, previous day rather. This was on Thursday. So let's increase that amount to maybe 2,000 and see. If we go to 2,000, everybody that puts in 2,000 or upward in a trade seems to be more on the bearish side. So we're gonna keep that in mind, and we're gonna follow the flow as we go ahead into this new week on ABBV. Up next, another one that I'm looking at this week is GM. GM, I believe, similarly, if we go to the weekly chart, I kind of posted not it was a green week. It kind of broke to the downside at the beginning of the week, but like most things in the market, rallied back to the upside. So that was kind of fake out, and that's why when we trade, we keep our stop loss to be very tight. If it comes back against us, we get to get out of the trade without too much without too much loss on it. However, what I'm looking at on GM, of course, is are we going to have a reversal right over here on the daily chart above 34.26, or are we going to break below 33.40? Depending on that direction, above 34.26, I'm going to be looking at a profit target at 37.17 and see maybe we're going to come back to the high of last week. Or if we break below, can we go back to retest that low of last week? And if we break that low at 31.61, maybe we come to the July month low at 30.33. If we look at the flow, and I think I closed that page by mistake. Let me undo that close tab. If we look at the flow on GM just for this upcoming week alone, right, it's quite bearish, right? These are all the things that we had. This is from Thursday of last week. This is from Friday. Maybe some of these people might still be in that trade, but we'll pay attention to the volume and the open interest tomorrow, and depending. And if we even bring up the OPEX expiration, which is 1021, on this, you will still see a bit more on the bearish side. Let's try to increase this to everybody over 5,000 in terms of the premium, and you will see it is much more bearish, over 5,000 on the premium. The flow on Friday is kind of 50-50 instead of call premium versus put premium, although most of the volume are on the call side. I played these 2 weeks ago to the downside, good profit. I'm going to be looking to re-enter to either side that it presents come tomorrow, and that will be GM. All right. Another one that I like is CCJ. And the thing about CCJ is if we actually go to the monthly chart, right, we have this a fake out last month to the upside. We broke above 29.95, then like everything in the market was red, and I'm really looking for this to come back to test the month low of 24.66. If it doesn't come there, I'm not just going to be bearish for no reason. It's got to come here to the downside. Let's look at the weeklies on here. in the weekly setup, I like this. It was like a false breakout on the weekly chart. We posted above last week high, and last week I believe was 27.59. Immediately we posted above it, we got back smack down. I always like this setup in the market. I believe it's called the evening star setup. So what I will be looking for in this week is if CCJ can come back to break 26.49, I would like to be a participant, to the bearish side of the trade. And I just like this setup. You could literally have a trend line, like a trend line rejection right there. So below 26.49, of course, there's a profit target that is super close, but that the risk to reward is not there. So I'm going to hold and expect it to do its thing. Hopefully, come to 25.61, and hopefully, depending on what the market is doing in the month of October, this might actually come all the way to 24.66. So that is going to be CCJ. Let me see if we have any interesting flow on CCJ. The flow of everything over 5,000. Let me reduce that to 1,000 since this is a small stock. The flow is kind of bullish, as you guys can see. So maybe somebody knows something that I do not know, and that's why I wait for the price action. And I just jump to a side and say, oh, maybe I'm bullish or I'm bearish. I wait for the price action and I just go with the price action. The flow on Friday was bullish, both on the volume side and the premium side, 1.24 million compared to 596 93,000. So I'm just gonna be patient with CCJ. I like it more to the downside, but at the end of the day, the chart is gonna do what the chart is going to do. Another one that I'm looking for this upcoming week is NET. Net is an internet stock. Net also has a very interesting setup on the month, right? It's posted an inside month for the month of September. So also we are still double inside right now in the month of October, and I'm trying to see maybe just maybe if things go downside in the market that Net will come down to take down this 53.09. I'm gonna wait for 53 to be much more specific. If we go to the weekly chart. On net also, it was kind of like a false breakout last week of that inside week that it had 2 weeks ago, a false breakdown. And because of the jobs number that was released on Friday, everything got smacked down in the market. So this is gonna be one of those, I believe there's a setup for this to get like a quick scalp on the daily chart before we wait for the week. So like there's a quick start, $2 move from 55 to 53 on the daily chart. I will be paying attention to that. All of these things, I'm still gonna set my price alerts on it. And if it breaks the 53.09, then there's a bigger move all the way downside. And you will be shocked with the things that can happen in this market. For example, when we called out AMD, and I was speaking to my colleagues. I said, hey, AMD might be coming all the way to 58. We actually got to 58 super quick on Friday, and there might still be more room to the downside for AMD. Not to take too much of a time, we have another one, which is WFC. This is Wells Fargo, and banks are having their earnings is about to start. I believe Wells Fargo's earnings is going to be 10/14, which will be this week, the Friday of this week. So watch out for those premiums. You guys know I do not swing through earnings. I'm gonna play the run up towards the earnings, and banks always start the earnings, and we will see the way this actually do work out. If we look at the weekly setup on air, it was also that Wells Fargo was actually one of the ones I really liked playing 2 weeks ago into last week because of this reversal of the morning star that was showing over here. And as you can see, this was really strong before the jobs number on Friday. So of course, we're just going to be patient for this also. It's gonna pick a side, and we're going to go with either side that it picks. on Friday, even with the sell-off, it's kind of like it's a bit of a shooter, not a pure shooter, because the body is not as small as possible, but it shows you some buyers came in at the 41.39 level to buy this back up to the upside. So if things are green this week, bank will be one of the places I will look. The next ticker is also one of those, and I'm gonna share that with you guys in a second. Above 42.12, it could come to 43.14 very quick, and that's a dollar move. You load this thing, you take your profit in and out without wasting too much of a time. Let's quickly look at what the flow for this week and next week on WFC is. Whew, that does not look good. This flow seems to be extremely bearish, which is what was posted on Friday. 15.7 million to the put side. It seems like 3.87 million to the call side. However, maybe because of the filter that I have on, I cannot see those expiration for the put side. Let's see. Let's say I want to see everything $10,000 and above. Okay, so that is one person right there. I mean, we don't necessarily know the side, the direction of this, but we know ER is coming. This is 2.8 million, just from one person. As you guys can see, all these other new position. This means this is a new position right here. And by the way, this is unusual whales. I like using them a whole lot. 160 of these, 13K. You have all these bearish, 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 bearish. And if we go to other days of the week also, you will see there beats to be a much more new bearish position being established, in this thing, and we got to be cautious of that, right? So we will see the way I will definitely be playing WFC. I'll be playing their run up, the levels are there over 42.12. I'm going to take it to the upside, and excuse me, guys. And below 41.39, I'm gonna take it to the downside on this. Could establish a small position, and if it takes out the weak low, then I'm load into these a little bit more heavy. All right, let's go to the next one. Another one of my favorites that I like to play. Actually, let's go to the other one that I believe is also strong. That was strong last week, and might actually show another strength if the market is green this week. And that is Uber, right? As you guys can see, Uber held strong in the month of October. It did not break the low of the previous month like many of the other stocks. And even if we look at the weekly was green last week. It really showed some strength before it gets rejected. So let's see, maybe the strength we continue into this upcoming week as we go on. Over 28.86, then I'm gonna join the bulls. But below 27.92, this thing might come back. Maybe we could have like a small bounce right here because that line held, and there's a bit of a cluster, price action cluster right here. So maybe we'll bounce, but that's really not the way I trade. If it breaks, I take it. I'm gonna see maybe it's gonna come to that week low, which is also kind of coincided with the month low of last month at around 26. If we look at the flow on Uber, uh, let's see, Uber is a smaller stock. I mean, it's kind of 57% on the bearish side to 42% on the bullish side. It's almost like it's kind of even, almost even, while it is not like 50-50, but it's not like, obviously to one side or the other. We're looking at every premium over 10,000. As you guys can see, it's kind of mixed. If we go to previous day, also kind of mixed, except for these bear, and this is 2025, so it's gonna be hard for us to take this into factor of the way we look at stuff. January 2023, yeah, but all these 2025 ones don't, those ones are leaps. They don't really matter in the way we look at what is about to happen in the upcoming week. But I will be paying attention to Uber above 28.26. If you want to be patient, you could wait till 29, or below 27 92. As those who follow me know, I love trading cheap stocks in terms of like cheap CHIP, semiconductors to be specific. And MU is one of them. MU, is like a cheaper version of AMD. Premium wise, I don't know about, I believe even when it comes to the size of the company too. So we're gonna look at it on the weekly. It was strong last week, and maybe the strength will continue, or maybe the market will say we are going lower, just because of inflation and being ready for the Feds. So this one on the daily chart, I'm gonna be looking for it below 52. 51, which is Friday's lows, or above 54 65. All right, I've got I believe two more or three more. Then it's going to be a wrap after that. The very next one is going to be Starbucks. Starbucks also showed some strength last week before before the price action on both Thursday and Friday. Excuse me, and sorry about that. Above 88.90, you could wait for 90, 89 itself to the upside, or below 86.30 to the downside on Starbucks, right? So that is going to be Starbucks. Let me just look at that weekly one more time. As you can see, it was a green week. So let's see where full time frame continuation will take us. Are we going to reverse to come and make the month to make the month red, or are we going to keep pushing up to the upside? Another one I like is BBY, is Best Buy, and I think the reason I like this was to the downside, especially when we go and take a look at the monthly chart to see why, trying to see it's going to be a continuation to the downside, right? Maybe we will find out. But on a day-to-day basis, what I'm looking at in regards to this one is going to be, okay, can we break below 64.18? You could wait for 64. Below 64, we might come all the way to 62.87. And the very last one of all these 10 stocks that we are checking out for this week, setting my alerts on, is RCL, Royal Caribbean. This was really resilient last week, even with the jobs number on Friday. It held strong, right? So, very interesting candle. I forgot the name. But we're gonna be looking at, is this going to break above 44.25, which was the high of Friday, or is it gonna join the rest of the market to the downside and break below 42.55? So that is everything I have for you for this month, for this week of October 10, 2022. If you have any question, please put a comment in there, and I will be more than happy to answer your question. Thank you, good night, and have a great